We were 12 on the station. That's what the official log said, and that's what I remembered. But this morning, when I woke up, something wasn't right. There were no alarms, no failures, no emergency signals, just a strange feeling, as if something was missing. It took me a few seconds to notice. There was an empty bed. I asked who was missing. Nobody could answer. It's not that they avoided the question, it's that they genuinely didn't remember. I checked the crew list. It said 11. Always 11. According to everyone, we were never 12. But I know we were, because last night, I talked to him. The station is in low orbit, too far to evacuate quickly and too close to ignore what happens here. We are or were a maintenance and observation team, nothing heroic. Long shifts, automated reports, systems that rarely fail. Every movement is logged, cameras in every corridor, sensors on every door, biometric logs at every access point. That's what they always repeat to us. There is no room for errors here. But today, when I returned to the rest module, something didn't fit. There was an extra helmet on the rack, one that nobody claimed. I asked the duty technician if someone new had been assigned. He looked at me confused, said no. We checked the inventory together. 11 suits, 11 helmets. It was always that way. But I could swear that wasn't there yesterday. Later in the cafeteria, I noticed something else. An extra mug on the communal table, still warm. No one had used it, according to everyone. No one remembered it. And yet, someone had been there. That night, I couldn't ignore it. I went straight to the monitoring room. If something had changed, the cameras had to show it. I rewound the recordings to the previous night. Everything normal at first. Empty corridors, stable lights, shifts crossing, until I found the gap. It wasn't an abrupt cut or an obvious glitch. It was worse, an entire stretch where nothing made sense. The clock was ticking, but the shadows weren't moving. I played it back slower. At an exact point, for less than a second, a figure appeared. Distorted, incomplete, as if it didn't belong in the image, and then it disappeared. I kept checking. In the rest module, all the beds were occupied, except one, the same one from this morning. But when I checked the sleep logs, only 11 heart rates appeared, 11 breaths, always 11. I stared at the screen without understanding, because in that image, in that second, I could swear someone was standing next to my bed, watching me sleep. The next day, I tried to act normal, but I couldn't stop counting. 11 at the table, 11 in the corridors, 11 voices on the radio. I started writing down names on a piece of paper, one by one, reviewing them every hour as if I was going to forget one. But something worse started to happen. Every time I reread the list, I felt one was missing, even though I didn't know which one. I decided to record myself. I turned on my terminal's camera and said out loud what was happening, my name, the real number of crew members, everything. I wanted proof, something that couldn't change. Hours later, I played the video. My voice was still there, but some words were cut out as if someone had deleted them. Where I said 12, now there was only silence. I ran to find the others. I showed them the recording. They looked at me as if I were losing my mind. One of them even said I needed to rest. It was in that moment that I understood. It wasn't just that something was disappearing. It was that everything else was adjusting to fit, even them, even me. I didn't trust anything anymore, so I went to the central archive. It's an old system off the main network, used only for manual backups. If something hadn't been rewritten, it would be there. It took me almost an hour to access it. Folders, logs, shifts from months ago, everything normal, until I found an undated file. No name, just corrupted code. I opened it. It was a video. The camera showed the common room. The entire crew gathered together. 12 people. I counted it 3 times. 12. But there was a problem. I didn't recognize one of them. He was standing in the back, half in shadow. The others were talking, laughing, acting normal, as if he had always been there. I zoomed in on the image frame by frame. At one point, everyone moved, except him. He stayed completely still, looking straight at the camera. No, looking at me. I felt a chill in my chest, because in that instant I knew. I didn't remember him, but he knew me. And the worst part was realizing something else. At no point in the video did I appear. After that, everything started to go faster. That same night we counted again, and now we were 10. No one reacted, no one asked. They simply continued with their tasks as if it had always been that way. I ran to the rest module, another empty bed, another absence that no longer existed for anyone else. I went to the monitoring room. The cameras were still recording, but the corridors looked different, longer, emptier. Entire sectors of the station no longer appeared on the map. I tried to access maintenance, locked, as if it had never existed. I started running, checking door by door. Every time I turned a corner, something was missing. A console, a light, an access point. The station wasn't just losing people, it was shrinking. I went back to my terminal to check my list. The paper was still there, but the names were disappearing, not crossed out, not erased. They simply weren't there anymore, as if I had never written them. I looked at my hands, they were trembling, because I understood something worse than all the rest. It wasn't just them disappearing, the whole world was forgetting they ever existed. And soon, no one would remember that we were more than 10. Not even me. I forced myself to think before it was too late. If everything was being erased, there had to be a reason. I returned to the hidden archive, to the only place that didn't seem to change. I played the video again. 12 people. I watched them one by one until I understood. It wasn't that someone was missing, it was that there was one too many. I counted again. 12. But the current list said 9. 9 real ones. The rest no longer existed. Then I looked at the one in the shadow, the one I didn't remember, the one looking at me. And for the first time, I took a good look at his face. I felt the air vanish from my lungs because I recognized him, not as someone else, as myself. It was me, but not the one I am now, one who shouldn't be there. I checked the station's entry logs. 11 original names, 11, never 12, never me. I went back in time as far as I could. There is no record of my arrival, no assigned mission, no transfer, nothing. It's as if I had appeared here without existing. And then everything clicked. The station wasn't failing, it was correcting, eliminating what doesn't belong. And I never should have been here. The count changed again. 9, then 8. I no longer needed to check it. I could feel it. Every time someone disappeared, something inside me grew weaker, as if parts of me I didn't even know I had were being ripped out. I ran through the station looking for those who were left, but their faces were already blurry, hard to remember. Their voices, distant. I tried to say their names out loud, but some wouldn't come out anymore, as if I had never learned them. Then I understood it completely. They weren't eliminating just anyone. They were eliminating everything that had interacted with me. Everything I had touched, spoken to, changed. It was a chain reaction. I was the origin. If I stayed here, there would be nothing left. I went back to my terminal. I recorded another message. This time not to remember the others, but to remember myself, my name, my voice, my existence. But as I spoke, I forgot why I had started. I looked at the screen, I hesitated, and in that instant I knew it was too late, because if I forgot myself, there would be no one left to do it, and then I would disappear too. I forced myself to finish the message before I forgot everything. I repeated my name over and over again, as if that could anchor me to something real. The station was silent. There were no more voices on the radio. There were no more footsteps in the corridors. Just me, and less of me every time. I felt the memories unraveling like sand slipping through my fingers, faces I could no longer reconstruct, names that broke before leaving my mouth. I walked to the common room. Empty, smaller than I remembered. Or maybe it had always been that way. I wasn't sure of anything anymore. I looked at my hands. For a second, I didn't know whose they were. I went back to the camera. I turned it on. I tried to speak, but I hesitated. I doubted my own voice. Then I understood the only thing that mattered. If I stayed here, this wouldn't stop. Nothing would be left. So I stopped resisting. I closed my eyes. I stopped trying to remember. I stopped thinking about who I was. And in that moment, I felt something strange. Not fear, not pain, just silence. As if everything finally fit. As if the error had been corrected. The recording keeps playing. The camera points at the common room. Empty, silent, everything in order. The station operates normally. 11 registered crew members, 11 active heart rates, 11 routines executing flawlessly. There are no reports of anomalies, no empty beds, no missing names. Nothing indicates that there was ever anyone else. The door opens. One of the technicians enters, checks the monitors. Reflection. Something moves behind him, like a silhouette that shouldn't be there, but nobody sees it, nobody remembers it, and this time, there is no one left to do so.